You're listening to The Bible Guys, a podcast where a couple of friends talk about the Bible in fun and practical ways.
Good evening.
Whoa!
We talk the whole day through. Good evening. Good evening to you.
That's amazing, Chris.
Well, I did it because Mailbags today is a person who said they listen in the evening.
In the evening. Oh, okay. At night.
Yeah, at night.
Yeah.
And we already made several comments about the fact that some people, actually the majority
A lot.
of our listeners,
Listen beyond the morning.
yeah, beyond the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I say good evening.
Good.
How about that?
Well, fantastic. That just made my whole day. It made the whole day worth it.
Well, I got to be honest, I'm struggling with my voice today.
Yeah.
So the fact that I even attempted singing.
It was miraculous.
Miraculous.
Miraculous. Thank you so much, Chris.
Yeah.
The difficulties you choose for us
Well,
on our behalf,
Jeff, I sacrifice.
just for our own delight.
Sacrifice
Yes.
for the listeners.
Yes. You risk it all for us.
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, listen, let's move on because we have a segment, and today's segment is called
Mailbags.
and today's mailbags is from Allison K.
Ah, hi, Allison.
Yeah, so Allison says, "Hi, Jeff and Chris." Actually, yeah, that's right. So, hi, Allison.
Hi, Allison.
Love the podcast. Thanks for all you share every night.
Oh, that's awesome.
Put some parentheses. That's when I listen.
Ah, yes.
This is why I say good.
Yes.
I've got a fun question for you both. If you could instantly master one skill, no practice required, what would it be and why?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Looking forward to hearing your answers on the show.
Okay.
And by the way, I love this because a lot of times when people write in mailbags, or write in a question rather, what they would do is they would, like say, hey, I got a Bible question, or what about this, or what about that? But I love the fact that she's asking a curious question.
Yeah. About us.
Yes.
She just wants to know more about us.
Well, and
Where's our
but
priorities?
it also creates fun,
Yes.
right? So I would just say,
Master any skill.
hey, I'm going to challenge everybody right now
Uh-huh.
to, because it's hard to come across people, it's hard to come across mailbag stuff and to create this segment. But if everybody did it once,
Yes. Everybody send in a question.
yes. So please do us a favor and email us at info@thebibleguys.com.
Any Bible question? Any practical question?
Yes.
Any curious question?
Yes.
We're happy.
But can you imagine if we have 15 unique 1,000 people who listen a month?
That'd be awesome.
15,000 people. So if everybody took the time to email us one question, that means that Desiree and crew would receive 15,000 questions today.
That's all we need.
That'd be all we
Yeah,
need.
yeah. For a little while. That'll become the segment. Hey, I think it'd be fun to go back and do another whole series of Stump the Pastors.
I do too.
That was really fun to do.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
So, that's assuming that we have good things to say.
We have to have 15,000 questions come in. But yeah.
That'd be great.
Okay.
So, Jeff, if you could master one skill with no practice required, what would it be?
There's a lot of things I like to do.
Yes.
Like I love cooking. I love grilling. But I wouldn't want to master it all at once because part of it is learning it.
Right.
I like to learn. So I don't think that would be it. I don't know. This is really hard. I think the skill I would want to learn, if I could just master it, just like I walk out from this room today and bang, I'm just an expert at a thing, would be languages.
Wow.
Languages, yeah. Because I'm terrible at learning new language, and I'm always in another country. In just a couple weeks, I'll be in Senegal. Right after that, I'll be in Sri Lanka. They asked me to stop off in Malta on the way back, and then I'm going to be, I can't remember, back, I think, Egypt.
So you're like, I just want to know Maltese.
I just wish when I'm in Sri Lanka, I wish I could speak, was it, they have, they have two languages main languages they speak in India, in Sri Lanka. In Egypt, it's going to be Arabic. I wish I could speak Arabic, and I cannot put Arabic together at all. I struggle. I have basic things, hellos and goodbyes and thank yous and my friend and stuff like that. But man, it's just so hard, and I wish I could do that. And then when you make mistakes, it's terrible. I told you the story about Bill and I when we were way out in the bush,
Yeah.
and we're driving. We were trying to say like nice greetings. How do adults say nice things to children? Greetings. and it's habari is a nice greeting from an adult to a child. And so we're driving through the bush, and every time we'd drive, and then all of a sudden there'd be 5 kids on the side of the road, and we'd yell out the window, "Hatari, Hatari." Hatari means danger. So these white guys are blasting through the bush, 10 hours from Nairobi, 4-wheel drive truck. These kids haven't seen a truck in 3 days. And then we're yelling, "Danger, danger," as we're just blasting past them. And finally our driver was like, I don't think that means what you think it means, right? Tobias, and he said, "I think you mean to say habari, not hatari."
You don't think that would mean that you think it is conceivable?
Yeah. So that's mine. What about you?
There's no question for me.
Oh, wow.
It is not what you just said. Although that is a tremendous skill to master. That would be amazing.
Mhm.
It reminds me of that movie Phenomenon with John Travolta.
Oh, yeah.
When they're going to visit a Portuguese family,
Mhm.
and he picks up a Portuguese how to learn Portuguese.
Yeah.
And by the time he gets there in 10 minutes, he
He's
speaks
just,
fluent.
yeah, yeah. I would love that.
And he goes-
That would be the best.
He goes, "You just learned the whole Portuguese language in 10 minutes?" And he looks at him and he goes, "Not all of it." But anyway, 'cause he had that brain too.
Yeah.
Anyway, mine would be playing the piano.
Really?
Oh yeah.
You want to learn how to play the piano?
No, I do not.
Oh.
But I wish I immediately knew.
You wished you immediately knew.
I do not want to practice playing the piano. I will never do it, ever.
Uh-uh.
But to be able to walk up to a piano and to masterfully sit down and then just play something that delights everybody, I would absolutely adore that gift. I want to be able to delight people.
Yeah.
Because there are so many people. There are so many times where other people delight me.
Yeah.
Like in a mall or something, or they'll just walk up and they'll be like, "Hey, let's all sing this around a family gathering."
Yep.
And they just start playing.
People gather around guitars and they gather around pianos. You're right.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I would love to do that.
Yeah. That's a neat little gift.
Yeah, and
Wow.
that's the way I've always wanted to, and so that's the main reason why we paid for piano lessons for Sarah,
Mhm.
who's now 30 something, and but she gave it up and she didn't learn it, and then later on she said that's one of my biggest regrets. I regret not sticking with piano.
My wife Bonnie's one of the best piano players I've ever known. She's phenomenal like that, but it takes a tremendous amount of work. When your mind starts slipping, that might be a good thing for you to start doing. They say it helps rebuild new pathways in your brain for thinking. Yeah. I can't think of any jokes that would be appropriate to make as we move into the intro for this.
Well, I will say this: it's amazing how Allison is able to see
Mhm.
into our lives enough to ask those insights.
Okay, yes.
And Jesus also talks about seeing
Yeah, what we see,
and
and it matters.
looking,
Yes, yep.
how it's very intentional as well
Okay.
in Matthew chapter number 5.
Yeah. So we are in this series that we're doing on the Beatitudes.
Yep.
And the premise of this whole topic that we're dealing with is that Jesus mentions all these things that God blesses, and then through the whole rest of the Sermon on the Mount, he references things that have to do with a faulty view of the thing God blesses, right? Where religion messes us up from actual real blessing from God. That's basically it. So yesterday we introduced the idea that he says, "Blessed are those whose hearts are pure, for they will see God." And what we were talking about there is that that word is katharos in Greek, and it means focused. It means undivided.
The word pure.
Right? Pure. The word pure. And so it's not only clean, although that's part of it. So there's a cleanliness to it, but there's also an undivided loyalty or focus towards God. And so with that idea, then, he unpacks a few things that wind up being the opposite of pure. And one of them here in Matthew chapter 5, verse 27, he says, "You've heard the commandment that says you must not commit adultery. But I say anyone who even looks at a woman with lust has already committed adultery with her in his heart. So if your eye, even your good eye, causes you to lust, gouge it out and throw it away. It's better for you to lose one part of your body than for your whole body to be thrown into hell. And if your hand, even your stronger hand, causes you to sin, cut it off and throw it away. It's better for you to lose one part of your body than for your whole body to be thrown into hell." Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well,
It's one of the strong.
I'm glad you didn't sing good morning. This is a hard one. We're talking about this in the afternoon then.
Right. That's
Yeah.
right. Early evening. Yeah. It's one of the harsher teachings that Jesus lays out there, because, I think one of the harshest things that Jesus has ever said is, if you're not willing to abandon your father and your mother
Yeah.
and follow me, you cannot be worthy
Mhm.
to be called my disciple. And really what that is it doesn't literally mean abandoning your father and your mother. It is Jesus saying, unless you're going to choose me over family, right?
Yeah.
And so it's the idea that, that choosing God is obviously the thing that trumps everything in your life. And obviously he was also dispelling, I sort of opened a can of worms by saying that, because he was sort of dispelling excuses,
Yes.
because they were saying like, hey, I don't want to follow your Jesus because I had to go bury my father, bury my mother,
Right.
and tend to my family affairs. And he's saying like, you're really just using that as an excuse.
Right.
Right. So that's what he was doing. But anyway, the whole point is, this is another harsh teaching. So the question is, Jeff, does he really mean take your eye out physically?
No.
Yeah.
No, not at all. I think he's using shocking language on purpose.
Yep.
It's a tool. Um, so if you can remember this entire book, we tend to read, like today, we just read a couple verses.
Right. Out of context.
He's preaching an entire message.
Right.
So he starts off saying, listen, God blesses people with a pure heart. That's one of the things he says. Then he talks about being salt and light, and let your light so shine. So now he talks about your deeds. Your deeds matter. So let your light shine before men, that they can see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. So the reason why we would live good lives isn't to get to heaven. It's because God says, I'll bless you and people will glorify me, right? It brings glory to God. It brings blessing to us. We just talked about this, right, on Sunday. This is exactly how he starts Romans chapter 5. And then he goes, but here's your problem. And then he, in verses 17 through 20, he says, your problem is you think by keeping all the religious rules, that's how you make God happy. Well, let me tell you, you can't. And so he unpacks it then about murder, right? If you're angry at somebody, it's the same as killing somebody. Then now he talks about lust. You think if you just keep the letter of the law and don't commit adultery, you're fine. And he said, I'm telling you, it all starts in the heart. So murder starts in the heart. It doesn't start in the action of, oh, I got a knife in my hand. Oh, I just plunged into your chest. It's the hatred in me that drives me to murder you, right? God says, Jesus is saying, listen, it's not about the religious keeping of every rule. It's about the heart is what I'm after. And so he gets to this adultery thing, and he goes, you think just by keeping the rule about not actually committing acts with somebody else that you're okay. And I'm telling you, it all begins in the heart. It's always ever been about the heart. So then he's trying to shock them out of this behavior of thinking, because, guys will go, oh, well, I can't help what walks in front of me. I can't help what I'm interested in. And so he's talking really about the intent there. And temptation is not failure, right? Noticing beauty is not failure. It's when I decide I'm going to keep rehearsing. I'm going to recall that thought. I'm going to take that second look, right? He's saying, hey, what's in your heart?
Yeah.
Is really that lustful thing in your heart is the issue. And then he says, you need to learn. Remember when he said pure in heart is undivided. You need to be willing to make any radical decision in order to keep yourself from crossing that line. That's what he's talking about, I think, there. I don't think he's saying go get a spoon and pop your eyeball out, right? He's trying to shock you into realizing how significant of a deal this is, because people would go, well, boys are going to be boys, haha, and just kind of pass on that one a little bit. And he's going, no, I'm telling you, it's that serious.
We did a series here in February of 2021 called Questions for God. And in that series, do you remember we did a limbo sticks?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
We
Yeah,
put
yeah.
the limbo sticks higher and above. And the whole point of doing that was to talk about the bar. And we taught this exact passage. And the idea was, I remember, and it was really based off something Francis Chan said in one of his sermons. He's a very famous author and speaker and pastor. But anyway, Francis Chan said, I just love the way he put it. He said, people think that the 10 Commandments are the highest bar.
Yeah, right.
He goes, but believe it or not, he goes, the 10 Commandments are a really low bar. He goes, think about it. He goes, God's like, try not to kill anybody today.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He's like,
good job. Yay.
Try to stick with your own wife, not somebody else's wife,
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, we think it's, we obey the 10 Commandments. And if we just achieve this really high bar, we can get to heaven. He goes, what Jesus is doing is he's saying, no, It's actually really low. He goes, somehow he set the lowest bar of human behavior, the lowest common denominator of human behavior. He goes, and somehow we've managed to slither under it.
Yes.
Right? Because
Right.
we can't keep it. And so really that's part of what Jesus is doing here. Because remember, Jesus is saying these examples right after he talks about the righteousness of the Pharisees.
Yeah.
And the Pharisees were prideful. And they thought like, oh, they were righteous because they were keeping these big 10 commandments, by not committing adultery and not murdering somebody. And what Jesus is saying is like, no, if you keep those commandments up here, he goes, you're not righteous. I'm here to tell you that just because you have not, committed adultery, you feel righteous.
Right.
And I'm telling you that you're just as guilty of breaking the law if you lust after a woman with your own heart. He says, so you violated the law, by doing those things. And part of what he's doing is he's dispelling the righteousness of the Pharisees, but he's also making the point that, you're not even close to the Pharisees, and they violated the law, themselves. And then, of course, he said that famous comment, you have to surpass the righteousness of the Pharisees, right?
Yeah.
So I've got a really funny story about this. So listen to this. I was in Bible college. I'll never forget this to the day I die. I was in Bible college, and I was just getting ready to graduate. It was my junior year of Bible college. And I was home for summer or something like this. And I was getting interviewed by my home pastor, because our church was planting a church. Okay. So Youngstown Baptist Church was starting a church called, it doesn't matter. I think it was called Heritage. What was it called? It doesn't matter. I'll think of it later. I think it might've been Heritage. Isn't that funny? But anyway, it was a church that we were planting in Hermitage. Oh, that's what it is. It was Hermitage, Pennsylvania. It wasn't called Heritage. But anyway, we were planting a church there, and he was trying to decide whether or not I was going to be the person that they were going to hire to be their youth pastor for the summer. And it was only for a summer, because there's a lot of good candidates in our churches. So I was on that interview. Imagine that. Okay. On that interview. And as we were walking into Burger King, because, they spared no expense.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Whining and dining you, trying to get you to move back to Youngstown.
So Pastor Jamie and Pastor John.
Do you want a Whopper or a Whopper Junior?
Right? They're taking me to Burger King. And as I was walking to Burger King, now keep in mind, I was a single guy. I was young. I'd only been, honestly, a Christian for a couple of years. There's this girl that walked by me, and she was wearing the skimpiest outfit known to mankind. And I literally, as we were all walking into double doors, I turned my head and I followed her. It was a direct violation of looking after somebody. And right. And I watched her walk out to the car, and I lingered like a full 20 seconds.
Yeah. That would be the failure then.
Yes. Massive failure. Right. I turn around, I look, and both Jamie and John, who I thought were ahead of me going into Burger King, are both standing there holding the door open for me, watching me.
Oh no. Yeah.
Watch this girl.
Busted.
Yeah. Right. I mean, like, massive failure. On my part, as they're considering hiring me.
Right.
You understand?
Yes.
How embarrassing this is. Okay.
You failed that one. So they downgraded you. You didn't get to get the extra value meal, right? You didn't even get large fries. You had to go. Yeah.
So
dude.
So this interview could have potentially been over before it started.
Yeah.
Right?
It would have been.
Okay. So anyway, I look like this, and I turn around. They look at me, and Pastor Jamie looks at me and says, "Hey, Chris, if your eye offends you, pluck it out."
Mm-hmm.
He quoted.
He quoted his verse. Yeah.
And then immediately, you ready for this? I thought of the biggest lie that I could think of in that moment, and I go, what? I go, no. I go, I know that girl, and I can't believe she's wearing that. It's not true.
Yeah.
It's not true.
Oh no.
And
so then you had to confess to Jamie later?
No, I never.
Yeah. Oh no. So Jamie.
Yeah. Right.
You need to call him.
And so I literally can't believe that I was still clever enough.
Yeah.
And I'm not bragging. This is a confession, radical confession.
Right.
But I even played the part in my acting role. I go, what? No. You misunderstand. I know that girl.
Well, that's what happens with stuff, right? When we give into temptation, then we start lying about our temptations.
Well,
Yeah.
because it's that's what David talks about, right?
Yeah.
How one lie produces another lie.
Right.
And so yeah, I literally covered myself up, and it was so believable. My performance was so believable. They go, oh, I go, who was that? And then I just made up a name.
Oh no.
I go, that was like Stacy Brewer.
Oh no.
And I'm like, I can't believe it.
That's terrible.
It's
right.
terrible.
That's terrible.
It's terrible.
Well, so Jesus is saying, he did say, pluck out your eye. So Jesus is not advocating self-harm.
Yeah.
Right. So we need to be super clear in that. He's not advocating self-harm. He's trying to use the shock language to say, if you're just thinking in practical language, he's saying remove whatever fuels the temptation.
That's right.
That's what he's saying. Decide that you're going to take decisive action, not halfway action. Take decisive action. I have a friend that he came to me, and he had started with in Celebrate Recovery for sexual integrity, and he wound up getting rid of his smartphone and going back to a flip phone. And that was his answer.
Wow.
That was his equivalent of cutting out his eye or cutting off his hand.
And part of it.
Right?
Yeah.
That was for him. Well, he said that was his outlet. Right? It wasn't like he was on the computer at home or whatever. It was just so he got rid of his smartphone so that he didn't have that. And that's the idea. Is Jesus is saying make a radical decision to not go forward, because if your eyes you determine what you choose to linger on is the thing that starts to get your attention. And this is what the idea of being pure in heart is having a singular focus, not being distracted by things. And the devil loves to throw up things and get us to take that second and third look and then start thinking about it, imagining it, fantasizing about it. And it winds up ruining our lives. And so he's saying here, be willing to make a radical decision to remove what the temptation is. I knew a lady who quit her job over the fact that she was tempted by, significantly, she had found herself flirting with a guy at work, and decided, they never actually got into anything. They didn't do anything, but she couldn't stop it.
Yeah.
She said, I just had this attraction. I could not.
She just knew if she stayed there, it wasn't going to lead to anything good.
It was going to ruin her life.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was going to ruin her life, and she was convinced of it. And so she quit her job, and it turned out later on, it wound up being a great career move for her. She didn't see it in the moment. She felt like it was a sacrifice in the moment, but it wound up being a great career move for her in the future. And that is another one of those, right? You remove it. There's nothing more important than your singular focus on God and God's ways. And God says, blessed are, I will give you my favor. So when he'd made that choice to get rid of his smartphone and go to a flip phone, his buddies make fun of him. But man, his marriage is stronger. He's starting to find freedom, right? The truth will set you free. He's getting help in that area. He's winning. God will bless you when you choose a pure path. And it's the same thing for her. God blessed her, and her career went through the roof. She took 2 or 3 big leaps over the next couple of years in a career that I think the other company probably she wouldn't have had that opportunity. Yeah. Now, she felt like she was making a sacrifice, but God blesses the pure in heart.
And it probably was a sacrifice at the time, right?
Yeah.
To go without income is always a sacrifice.
Yeah, but God's never going to owe you anything. Right. So when you step up and make a significant sacrifice, God's going to step and go, good job, I'm going to give you a reward. And that's what happened there. So no, he's not advocating self-harm. He is advocating a willingness. He's using shock language to get you to make a willingness to do whatever it takes to end that temptation, or end that lingering, to end that path that you're going down, because you're on the verge of ruining your life.
That's great. Mm-hmm. Well, hey, that is definitely our time. So hopefully we'll see you tomorrow on the Bible Guys.